Welcome back to Yap Sessions with Marco Martinez. Yes, you are at the right podcast. I had it as a Marco Martinez show, and I don't know. I didn't really consider it as a show because it was more just me talking. So then I decided, you know what? I was just since I really just talk a lot and just talk about the most random things. Let me just make a random. Let me just change it to a title that's honestly more suitable to what I do. And excuse me, sorry, just burping. Oh, excuse me again. But anywho, um, I kind of just was just thinking, and me being a Gen Zer, I thought, a a word that is used a lot is yap, like yap, yapper, yapping, and it's just basically like slang, I guess you can say, for just talking a lot. Like you're a talker, you like to talk a lot. So I was like, hey, that fits my persona, that fits me, and especially even my age as well. So I'm like, that's perfect. So now instead of it being the Marco Martinez show, now it's Yap Sessions with Marco Martinez. And I just say with me because, potentially, I might even add some people here and there. Just, talk about shit, But anywho, today we are actually going to be talking about the Law of Self-Sabotage. And this is coming from the book of The 48 Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. I fucking love that book. I'm not even done with that book yet. You guys need to give it a listen. It is so, so good. Same with the 48 Laws of Power, 50th Law. So the laws with 50 Cent. Like, it is a great book. He's a great author. You guys really need to give it a listen. But, I mean, like I said, we're just going to be talking about the law of self-sabotage. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard the term self-sabotage before, but how often have we actually sat down to really unpack what it means? And how does it show up in our lives? So let's think about it. What is self-sabotage? And why do we do it? And how can we really stop it from holding us back? I'm assuming these are probably questions that you may have. In today's episode, we'll try to tackle it the best we can. So just stick around, because by the end of the episode, you'll have a better understanding of why sometimes we as ourselves stand in our own way, and more importantly, what can we do to get out of our own heads? Because there's a great quote that it's not by Tommy G, but it's by his wrestling coach, and he says, talk to yourself, but don't listen to yourself. Because you can always talk the talk. Tell yourself, be better, start dieting more, stop being such an asshole, start saving your money, start invest, start being wise, like all this other fun. You can talk to yourself, but then also don't listen to yourself when you do get in your head, when you're there saying, how ugly you look, how bad you are, how stupid you are, whatever the case may be. That's you now listening to yourself. So I really like that quote. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that's cool. I like that quote. And so I hope you guys as well, you listeners, can kind of even potentially even think about it. Like, think about it a little bit and kind of just, unpack of what that means, for you. But okay, so let's break it down. The law of self-sabotage, as Robert Greene likes to call it, so this is what it basically is. Whenever you're on the verge of a breakthrough or a positive change, you unconsciously create obstacles that prevent you from moving forward. It's like the closer you get to success, the more you trip yourself up. Which is very interesting, because have you ever, like, let's say you were like in a, shitty relationship before, and like your partner, let's say, was like abusive or verbally abusive or emotionally abusive, or just not a great part, or a cheater, just not a great partner overall. And so, you witnessed it, you lived it, and then you find someone new, and they actually are more mature, they are actually emotionally intelligent, they talk to you, they actually want to get to the root of things, they want to make sure, they want to talk to get things fixed and do the actions to get things fixed rather than just arguing and throwing a fit. Because that person A has lived the like has lived through like a bad relationship, when they see a good thing coming, they have to create something bad in order for it to end. So then that way they can say, "See, I knew it. I knew I was a horrible girlfriend." Or, "See, I knew it. I knew I was a horrible boyfriend." Or not even in relationships, even in friendships, they're like, "See, I knew I was a horrible person in general. Like, I knew it was all me." No. Well, yes, in a way you created it, but you're not the bad person. You subconsciously created obstacles in order to be able to transition to something better. You became very close-minded. You use your ego to distract you from the fact of whatever the case it is. And so it's like, that's all on you, but don't blame yourself. Blame your mind. Blame what you went through, that now, in order for you to feel comfortable in that position, that you had to create obstacles to fit that persona. You kind of get what I'm getting. Like here's another example. Have you ever noticed how when you're just about to achieve a big goal, like landing a new job, starting that passion project, or making a healthy lifestyle change, you suddenly feel overwhelmed with doubt? Maybe you start procrastinating and telling yourself, "I'm not good enough for this." That, my friends, is the law of self-sabotage. It's that little voice in the back of your head that tells you to stay in the comfort zone, even when it's not serving you anymore. And so, I kind of already told you. I guess it could even give you a little, honestly, a little bit of a quick personal story of mine. And it was in sports when I was in high school. Because I know myself, I could do it. I could have been, well, because I come from a small high school, really a small town. The high school is very tiny. We were a D2 6-man, and so literally a 6-man football team. Like, it's unheard of. Like, because everywhere else you go, it's going to be an 11-man or potentially even 8-man, depending on the size of your town. So 6-man is tiny, but I mean tiny. And I knew I was worth better. I knew I was able to achieve more, be stronger, be able to push people around. But because some of the people that I knew I could push around, I would always be like, the coaches, they favored them more, or they were better than me. So I always like, okay, well, because they're better than me, I'm not going to try as hard, or I'm not going to be as tough, or whatever, in order for them to still to still give that macho image. And I didn't want to hurt their ego. And even though I could have, not saying fucking college worthy football, but a lot better than what I was. And so, and that was self-sabotaging myself. Self-sabotaging my own personal growth in the sport to favor someone else's personal growth. Like, that's my example. Like, think about a time when you had that. Think about a time when you had that self-sabotaging time in your life. that you decided, damn, like I need to make it worse in order to feel better about myself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just think about it. So then also ask, why do we do this? Why do we trip ourselves up when we should be cheering ourselves on? Well, let's dive into the psychology behind self-sabotage for a minute. Because this isn't just about the bad habits or lack of discipline. It goes a lot deeper, by the way. First, let me take a sip of my water. So, first off, self-sabotage is often rooted in fear. The fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of the unknown. And here's the kicker. Sometimes we sabotage ourselves because deep down, we don't believe we deserve success or happiness. This is where limiting beliefs come in. Maybe maybe growing up, you heard things like people like us don't make it big, or success requires too much sacrifice. Those beliefs stick with us even when we don't realize it. And another big factor is control. Like, control. Think about it. If you sabotage yourself before things get too good, you maintain control. It's almost like you're preemptively avoiding disappointment by never letting yourself fully succeed. This way, you don't have to deal with the pressure of keeping up with the success or the fear of losing it. There's also comfort in the familiar. Even if our current situation is uncomfortable, like staying in a job we hate or not taking care of our health, it's what we know. Change is scary. And self-sabotage helps us stay in the comfort zone, even if it's not serving us anymore. And that's deep. Because like, think about it. Especially at a job we hate. Like, you're there, whether it be working at a grocery store, like retail, basically, an office job, maybe in the healthcare, financial work, construction, really any job that you're there, like, this fucking sucks, but it helps pay the bills. You're like, man, it's like, should I stay with the job because this is all I know? Or should I, or should I, like, change jobs to, like, to find something that'll better suit my my mental health, but it may not be paying me as much, or it may be paying similar, but having to get in the routine of learning the new job and knowing that your first paycheck or two are not going to be big, that you're just like, I don't know if I should do that. Like, think about it. Really think about it. Because trust me, it's heavy stuff. But here's the good news. Once we're aware of those patterns, we can do something about it. Self-sabotage isn't some unbreakable curse. It's just a behavior pattern that we can change with the right tools and mindset. Now, self-sabotage can show up in many different ways, and it's not always obvious at first. Sometimes it's procrastination, and trust me, I am fucking big on that. Like, I am big on procrastination. Other times, it's perfectionism. And yes, I know that may sound counterintuitive, but think about it. If you're always waiting for things to be perfect, you'll never get them done. Then there's imposter syndrome. And I feel like that is a big one that I always get. Because me being in the career of real estate and my parents not knowing really what real estate is and knowing that it takes a bit to create something out of real estate, I get in my head. I tell myself I'm probably not, especially because I haven't had a sale. I haven't even had a sale at all. And so then here I am in my head saying, damn, do I really suck at this? Am I really not meant for this career? because it doesn't feel like it's me and X, Y, and Z and yada yada yada. Like I self-sabotage it all because excuse me. Like I don't know, like all because I don't believe I'm worthy enough to be doing it, to be having that career. Because I see myself as dumb, as stupid, as low life, that I don't feel like I deserve to be in a position like that. And I know it's probably like very, very sad, but that's an imposter syndrome. Because it's like finally landing. Think about it. It's like if you finally land that dream job, but instead of celebrating, you start telling yourself, I'm not qualified for this. They'll figure out I'm a fraud. And boom, you start to self-sabotage by shrinking away opportunities, not speaking up in meetings, or overworking to prove you're worthy. Let's also not forget about negative self-talk, the inner critic that tells you you're not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough. That voice is often the root of self-sabotage because it plants seeds of doubt and fear, which is so fucking true. So you may be asking yourself, okay, we have all of this. We know about it, but how do we fix it? How do we break it? Well, the first step is recognizing it when it happens. Self-awareness is key. You need to pay attention to your thoughts, your behaviors, and how you react when you're on the brink of success or change. And ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Why am I holding back? Because was going back to the whole real estate thing, because it's sales and I have never been in a job with sales. I know I can be a great salesman because I know I can be charismatic. I'm friendly. I'm empathetic. I know how to talk when I can. I mean, with some practice, I know I can. But because that voice in the back of my head, again, I'm listening to myself. That voice in the back of my head tells me I'm not good enough and this isn't meant for me. I self-sabotage everything. And I just make sure everything is all fucking bad. Why? All because that's what I feel. I feel like I'm not good enough for it. When really I just need to keep fucking trying. But you need to, one of them is just being self-aware about it. Because once you identify those limiting beliefs or fears, you can challenge them. If your inner voice says you're not good enough, ask yourself, why not? Where's the proof? You'll often find that these beliefs are just stories we tell ourselves with no real basis in reality. And here's another thing. Set realistic goals. Sometimes we sabotage ourselves by setting goals that are way too high. And when we don't hit them, we feel like failures. Break your goals down into smaller, manageable steps so that success feels attainable and not overwhelming. Which is like, think about if you want to be a millionaire, but you don't even know how to make $3,000 a month. Because let's say even like once you even learn how to make $3,000 a month, which is about $36,000 pre-tax, once you learn how to do that, then you can learn how to make then $5,000. Now you went from $36,000 a year to now making $60,000 a year pre-tax. And then all of a sudden you doubled that and now you're making $10,000 a month. So now you pre-tax you're already making six figures. When before you were only making $36,000. Now you were making $100,000. Then 15, 20, 30,000. And then all of a sudden you catch yourself now making $50,000 a year. And instead of now it being pre-tax, that's now net. That's your take-home pocket. So now you're like, wow, I'm now making $600,000 a year when a couple years ago I was only making 36. And your big goal still may be a millionaire, but you're already halfway there. But you're not a millionaire yet, but you're learning how to you're learning how to make your finances and all that fun stuff to work in your favor in order to become a millionaire. Because then all of a sudden you're making 50,000 a month, and then boom, you doubled it. Now you're making 100,000 a month, and without realizing it, you've now made $1 million in a year net as well. And you're like, whoa, like I'm a millionaire now. What? And it's just those little small baby steps, because they always say. Because if you don't even know how to make even $5,000 a month, and your goal is to at least be making $20,000 a month, and you're only making $2,000 a month, like that doesn't sound really realistic, because you don't even know how to make $5,000 a month, yet you want to make $10,000 a month, or 20 or 30. Like, be realistic on that. Because at the end of the day, self-sabotage is just fear in disguise. The fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of change. But here's the thing. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to keep tripping yourself up on the way to success. You are worthy of things you want in life, and it's okay to step into that. So next time you find yourself hesitating or holding back, remember, you have the power to rewrite that story. You have the ability to step out of your own way and move forward. The law of self-sabotage might be a tough one, but it's not unbreakable. You can break it. And when you do, you'll be amazed at what you're capable of. And that, my friends, is the law of self-sabotage. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. To my 3 to 4 listeners, shouting you out. Don't know who you are. Don't know where you're at, but I love you guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.